So this video is going to be a little bit different than the other ones. I'm actually going to sit here and physically fill in my notes and talk to you at the same time. So you can follow along on topic 5, polygenic inheritance. And when you're done, you can practice your practice problems after, and hopefully this will all make sense. So polygenic inheritance is when 2 or more genes affect one single trait. We call this polygenic. There's a couple different versions. We're going to first start with epistatic or epistasis genetics. So essentially it is dependent on a gene modifier. Now, that probably sounds like, Essentially, it's just a gene that actually interacts and modifies another gene. So it is a gene that interacts and affects the phenotypes we see. Essentially, it masks the presence of other genes. So it would help if I could spell presence, right? Nope. There we go. All right. So that's the idea behind epistatic. So a real-life example of epistatic inheritance is actually the color coding on dogs, such as, for example, labs. You can have a black lab, a brown lab, or a yellow lab. And the fact is that it's actually an epistatic inheritance. So what it means is that big B and little b are in a dominant recessive relationship. So is big W and little w. But the key is in conjunction with each other, so playing with each other, the W is actually on a separate chromosome, and the W actually affects whether or not we see big B or little b. So if I was looking for big B, it would be the color black. If I was looking for little b, which is the recessive version, so remember it has to be two little b's in order to see it, I would see brown. Now again, like I said, those are in a dominant and recessive relationship together. If I had them in a heterozygous relationship, I would see black. If it was in a purebred homozygous dominant relationship, that would mean big B, okay? But if I have any of the letters, alleles of B with my W's, as long as my W is a big W, then I get the expression of the coat color, meaning I actually can see the color of the coat being brown or black. But if for some reason I inherit 2 little w's as a dog, I don't express color at all, I'm yellow. So the lack of dark pigment. So again, big W and little w are in a dominant relationship. Big W always trumps little w, but together is where they become epistatic. So if I look at this example here, this would be the genotypes of a couple dogs. I want to know what their phenotypes are. What kind of dog am I getting? So first I'm going to start by looking at what is the color of their coat. So I have a big B and a little b. Again, by my standards, I know this is a dominant recessive relationship. It should be a black coat. That's what this is showing. However, I also have to take into account that I have W's. W's mask the effect of B's, meaning if I have 2 little W's, which I do here, it trumps anything that the B's were doing. Little w's take control. So I have to tell you that the phenotype of this dog is going to be yellow. And that is because, as our epistatic definition says, it interacts and affects the phenotypes we see. It masks the presence of other genes. So this W hides these B's. It doesn't allow the B's to be present. So if we went and got another dog and looked at it, again, let's look at its genotype right here. Big B, little b. So again, I can say this dog, if I can name it, is black. However, let's look at the W's. I have a big W and a little w. They're in a dominant recessive relationship, so big W takes the winner on this one. So I'm actually going to see the expression of the coat color. So that means this coat color is actually black. Why? Because the big B means black. So I'm going to go back down here to this dog and I'm going to look. Genotype is little b, so that should tell me brown. What is it inherited with? 2 little w's. So regardless, if it says it's brown, it's actually yellow. And that is all there is to epistatic inheritance. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. There is an inheritance of genes together. If one masks the other, those trump, but you still have that dominant and recessive relationship. So the second type, the second type of polygenic interaction with multiple genes is called complementary interaction. And this is when one or more genes are present that, oh, you can't see that. No, I don't want to do that. That express different and distinct effects. Let's go with that. So what does that mean? Let's look right here at my chickens. Yeah, these are my chickens. So my chickens have a little thing on the top called a plume. It's that little thing on the top of their head here. And what it means is that they are undergoing complementary interaction. If I look down here at my legend, you will see that chickens with their little combs on the top of their head is what they're actually called. Okay, the little combs on the top of their head, depending on how they inherit their alleles, it'll actually show you different versions. So this chicken right here has a genotype of big R's. This chicken right here has genotypes of big P's. This chicken right here is a mixture of big R's and big P's. And this chicken right here is mixtures of the recessive forms of little r and little p. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how that kind of works. How does that actually work through with an example? So here's my first cross. I have a rose comb chicken. So I'm going to just write this underneath, rose comb. I know that because it's big R, so I know I have the rose. You don't have to worry about the little p's, okay? Because that's not a combination up here, okay? Big R trumps p's, okay? And I'm crossing it with little r two big p's. Again, there's no little r big p combination, so I just go with the big one. So that is a p comb, okay? So that is my first set. I'm going to make my I'm going to make my gametes. So my gametes below would be big R and a little p across the board, right? Big R, big P. So I'm going to make big R's, little P's, big R's, little P's, big R's, little P's, right? Just going and kind of foiling this across like that. I'm going to make my next set of gametes, which is little R's, little big P's. Okay. And that's all the gametes that those parents would make. However, I really only need to focus on the fact that they're all the same. So in the end, all offspring will be big R, big P, little p, because that's the combination of this gamete with this gamete. Now, if I go back to my legend, I can see that if I have a big R and a big P interacting right there, I now have all offspring are walnut. So even though it came in with a rose comb and a pea comb, all offspring left with what we call a walnut comb. So let's do F2. So this was my F1 generation, right? So F2 generation is taking the children from that generation and crossing them. So now I have a big R, big P, little p crossed with a big R, big P, little p. Okay. Now we all know that this is going to create a crazy huge Punnett square. Why? Because if you remember, you write that out, then you have to have your gametes. Well, my gametes are big R, big P, little r, big P, big R, little p, and little r, little p, okay? It's going to be the same on the other side. I'm going to have 4 gametes that are the identical as that. So big R, big P. So there's my 8 gametes all together. So I'm just going to do this in between so you can see that was crossed between those. So I'm going to have to create a Punnett square here. Unfortunately, my drawing tools are slim to none at the moment. So just be aware that you would be drawing a 16 square Punnett square, okay? But in this case, you have to remember it's not going to be your perfect 9 to 3 to 3 to 1. So let's draw a Punnett square really quick. So bear with me. I've never had to do this on here before. I don't know if this is going to work as well as I want it to. So I'm going to insert a shapes. I'm going to make a square. And sure, there's my square. Boom. Okay, Punnett square. And I'm going to put it as this, and I'm going to draw my lines in it. Woo! That's not a very good line, but whatever, we're going to roll with it. I'll move it over a little bit so that I have space. Okay, so line 1, 2, 3, and oh, that's all I need. What am I doing? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here, and I will be back shortly when I have this completely finished so you can see the end product. Right, so I'm back. So here is my Punnett square. So I quickly made it. As you can see, I created my gametes and then plugged them into the Punnett square and then wrote the phenotypes for you so you could see the ratio. So it ends up being 9 to 3 to 3 to 1. 9 walnut, which is the heterozygous individual of big R and big P. 3 rose, which is just big R's present. 3 P colored ones, which are just the large P present. And 1 single header comb. So that is an example of epistatic with polygenic with complementary inheritance. You will get this as a legend if you have to do a question like this. So moving on, I'm going to skip pleiotropy and Marfan syndrome. You won't really see anything like that, but we can talk about it in a couple days when I get back. So now you have some just practice questions, polygenic practice questions. When you're doing them, please highlight and look at the different examples. Highlight the different alleles, and make sure that you are understanding the cross. If you're unsure, just talk to Mr. Robinson, or talk to Miss Edmondson, okay? She will definitely help you with this. She's available Monday morning, lunch, and after school. I will be around hopefully Friday